With each day, a new beginning, another opportunity to become all you are created to be. There is a way. And now our host, the Reverend Arthur Hammons, invites you to join him in making this the best day of your life.
Hello, friends. You know, the affirmation and the motto of our program since its beginning has been, I am equipped to express health, happiness, prosperity, and peace of mind. That pretty well describes the state of well-being that we believe all of us can attain. We believe that you watching our program helps you attain it too, and that's why we're going to be talking about it on today's program. Well-being, the prosperity of the heart. Our guest to share this topic with us is Dr. Gregory Penn. He's the minister of the Center for Spiritual Awakening in Escondido, California. Dr. Penn is also the host of his own television program, Aspire. Let's welcome Greg back to our program. Things are going well for you.
Yes, thank you, Arthur.
Good.
I appreciate you inviting me back.
It's always a pleasure. People really respond to you and your consciousness.
Well, thank you.
What is your definition of well-being?
Well, it's not going after what you want. Buddha had a teaching that I find very interesting. He said, want nothing with all of your heart and stop the stream. And what he was saying was, in essence, a lot of the things that we desire and a lot of the things that we go after in life that we think are going to make us happy aren't going to make us happy. So well-being is being able to be with myself very comfortably within myself without wanting anything outside of me to affect my happiness. When I am happy being where I am, as I am, in the person that I am, even though that it's not a perfect person yet, and will never be probably, and that's the beauty of our humanity, is not trying to be perfect, then well-being sets in. My message this morning with our viewers is really quite simple. You don't have to be perfect to be spiritual. You can be, have faults, and you can be at times hurt, and you can at times be happy. It's all a part of the process of well-beingness, and that is just accepting ourselves as we are.
Just for fun, what's your definition, or what's the difference between religious and spiritual? Being religious or being spiritual?
A person who's religious is dogmatic. A person who's religious has a lot of beliefs and a lot of attitudes based on what other people wanted them to be. Nobody who is religious is themselves. They're pseudo. They're not authentic, because to make a person religious, you have to be taught. And if I accept what I'm taught, then I'm not original. The object of being spiritual is to be original, to be authentic within yourself, so authentic that you have your own feelings, you have your own insights. They're nothing that I gave to you. And maybe the beauty of this program is that we offer individuals the opportunity for their own spiritual evolvement without looking at us and saying, well, what do you think or what do you believe in, and should I accept that? I always say to people, don't believe a word I've said. Experience it for yourself. Then it becomes yours. Now you're authentic and real. And then nothing can touch you. You know? I mean, it's a genuine life. Plants, they live with each other. They don't take their cues from each other. Animals live with each other. They don't take their cues with each other. You know, they are themselves. We're the only beings on this planet that mimic each other. We can't be ourselves. We're afraid to be ourselves, and religion is one of those things, in my opinion, that keeps people this way. And religion, in its true thing, should broaden us. The religion that is true religion, which we don't have much of in the West.
We should go by the spirit instead of by the book. I mean,
I would drop the book and go by the spirit, and that's very frightening to people, because everybody wants a manual, you know, of how to live their life. We are not taught to trust ourselves, and that's part of well-being. To trust your feelings, not your emotions. I warn you on that one. But to trust your feelings, because there's a difference between emotion and feelings. Vast difference.
Well, where does prosperity come into all of this?
Prosperity. We think in terms of prosperity as being getting everything we wanted, having lots of things. We live in excess, Arthur. Our whole life is excess. We either live in excess poverty, excess desire, or excess money. We were just talking about a friend that we mutually know who lives in excess and cannot find what he wants to do with his life. He does this, he goes here, he goes there, can't figure it all out because we live in excess. We become excessive. Prosperity, I'll give you a new definition, the one I have found inside of me. Prosperity is not wanting more than what you have.
Say that again.
Prosperity is not wanting more than what you have. When you have what you have, and it is enough, more comes, and that's the odd part
Now
about
say
it.
that again.
Okay? When you accept what you have, and you don't want more than what is going on in your life, you will accept it and you go, okay, I've got this going on, I've got X here amount of dollars, I've got this going on in my life, you know, and we think in terms, I need more. If you drop wanting to need more and just deal with what you have, more is added unto you. And the weird part about that is you're not directing it or controlling it or trying to make it happen. I know this from my own experience. I used to teach this stuff about wanting more things and having goals and desires and building your dreams, and I found out your dreams are nothing more than things that look better away from you than when you get there, because what most of us do is when we attain our dreams, we've lost ourselves, because we will do anything to attain a dream. We will sacrifice love, compassion, forgiveness, and our own sense of spirituality for money, objects, fame, and fortune. And when we do that, yeah, we'll get what we want, but we'll lose ourselves. And Jesus even said that. What is a man's advantage if he gains the whole world but loses himself? Prosperity is being where you are and not wanting more, not living in excess, not hoping for more, not wishing for more, just being where you are and minding your own field, so to speak, tending your own garden. All of a sudden, when you don't want more, as Buddha said, wanting nothing with all of your heart, the magic happens. And that's the miracle, like changing the water into wine. Something happens. I cannot explain it. I'm not wise enough to explain it. All I can tell you is, in my own experience, it happens. And if you question it, you lose it. I am amazed at the wonderful things that have happened to me personally that have nothing at all to do with me personally. Because if I had gone after them, I couldn't have had them.
So you evolved to a place to attract them.
No, it just, if I look at it that way, Arthur, I'm in control and I'll screw it up. What I do is I let things happen, and I don't try to evolve or do anything. I have found that the key to my life has been let things happen as they happen and don't try to control them, Gregory. And as I do that, things happen. I don't have to force the river up the stream anymore. Things flow. I really understand now, deeply, what Jesus meant when he said, the lilies of the field, they don't toil or spin. And why should you, and you're greater than them? I now understand what he meant. They don't worry, they don't plan, they don't have goals, they're not worried about their future, and they're terribly unconcerned about their past. They just live in the moment, and they flow. And you know something, interesting thing, as Jesus said, God takes care of that moment. Everything is provided. I know that just tears apart the American system and all of our goals and all of our dreams, but you know, for my sense of insight in my own life, I have found out deeply inside of myself that none of the things I thought I wanted were the things I needed.
In fact, they were kind of camouflaging what you really did need. That makes sense? You talk a lot about heart.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, you and I, on this program for a couple of years, and with Dale, we have all talked about this thing of the heart. The heart is the threshold where life is. Life does not exist in the mind. Life exists in our hearts, Arthur. To go to the heart, the mind must be forsaken. You can't listen to your mind and go to your heart. The two don't work together. The mind can be only a bridge to the heart in one way, when it is reflecting the heart's attitudes and wishes and insights. What we tend to do with our mind is we try to analyze how the heart feels and thinks. And the object of it is when we do that, we distort the heart. The heart is very pure. Jesus didn't say, blessed are they who think, for they shall see God. He said, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. He knew where the heart was. And his whole teaching is around that. What we have done in metaphysics, I'm afraid, is we have gone to the least effective part of us, the one that divides, conquers us, and kills us eventually, our mind. When one goes to the heart, and I'll tell you how we do this, one actually transcends life as we know it in the mind and comes into harmony with it as it is. Feelings are the most important thing, and that's what we don't honor. We don't honor feelings. We honor thoughts and we honor emotions, but we don't honor how we feel. In fact, if you ask most people out there or here or anywhere, you ask them the question that will boggle them. It's the one question, how do you feel? And they can't tell you. They can tell you how their emotions are going, because we're very emotional, and how their thoughts are going, but that changes rapidly too. Ask a person how they feel. They can't answer it. And that's the most important thing in life. That's like saying to me, if you said to me, Greg, is your heart beating? I'd have to know that, wouldn't I? I mean, you know, here I'm sitting here, Arthur, yeah, my heart's beating, babe. Well, it's just as important on a spiritual level to know how you feel. And feelings, again, are very different from emotions. And I'd like to give a little definition. Feelings are always reacting. They're bouncing off the wall of what's happening. They're never the same. They're defensive. They're always trying to protect me. And they're always protecting my reasoning, how I reason my life out, which is always real, logical, and whatever, and that's what kills me. Feelings are deep. They're eternal. They have no beginning, they have no middle, and they have no conclusion. They just run a deep stream. And they're extremely intuitive. And the bold part about feelings are, the frightening part is, they never lie to us. And that's what scares us, because they show us everything about who we've become. They say to me, Gregory, the prison you're in is the prison you've made. And that's a hard one. It makes me own up to me. And that's why people avoid feelings, because it takes away their responsibility for their own life. When I have a sense of well-being, it's only because I'm connected to my feelings, not listening to my emotions make me crazy and say one thing one moment and another thing another moment. You know, emotions, when people fall in love, they fall down glandularly. You know, they never fall in love, they fall down. Love really brings us up, not down. And when somebody says, I've fallen down into love or into love, what they're really saying is, I've fallen into my emotions. And one moment you love this person. I've been dealing with a couple who are going through a divorce. 7 years ago, I mean, this couple was madly in love with each other. I could hardly get through the service, and they were smooching all the way through it. Now they want to slit each other's throat. And I find how interesting it is how the emotions change. The person that we love the most is often in danger of our hatred. And that's a pretty scary thing because of our emotions. Love is a feeling, the true love. And it's only found in the heart. It's a very difficult thing for people to understand because it requires that we get quiet, Arthur, and we get still, and that we meditate every day, and that we honor our feelings instead of honoring our thoughts and bouncing off walls with, you know, platitudes and logic and being right. And I can tell our audience very quickly, if you want to know how to get to your heart, just spend time during the day not being right. That'll bring you right there. But it's frightening because when you're not right, what are you?
Well, that's very scary.
Yeah, you know.
Well, let's talk more about this right after our break. It's time for that now. Now let's get back to thought and feeling.
Sure.
Because the standard direction is, as a man thinketh within his heart, so is he. Thought, then feeling, and then behavior. And I think you're talking about not just not feelings, but emotions. So could what you're talking about be a knowingness that doesn't think, but that knows?
A knowingness that doesn't think, that knows. I hear you. Yes. It has nothing to do with emotions. When you repeat the biblical statement, as a man thinketh in his heart, notice it says heart. The heart has its own way and reflects in the mind. What we do is think first and then interpret. The object is to feel first and let the mind be the vehicle for that. Do you understand? Now the mind is a mirror, a reflector, not an interpreter. Our problem, Arthur, is that we use our mind in the wrong way. We use it to interpret. And when I'm interpreting life, I'm missing it. I always tell my students at the center, don't trust what you think. The difference between a lie and a truth is a matter of 3 inches. It's the distance between the eye and the ear. Anything I see, I will not understand because it comes in my mind. Anything I hear, I have to close my eyes and listen. That can come from the heart. And that's a little test that you can use. You can see someone, close your eyes, hear them, and they look entirely different. Entirely different. One is trying to tell you the truth, the other is deceiving you. And that's why I have this thing, Just Listen, that I want to share with our audience, because it's a direct way to well-being, to really being prosperous inside, because prosperity is not what I have or own. Prosperity is the wealth that lives within me, and it has nothing to do with money. When I have true prosperity, I will always have everything that I need when I need it. I will not live in excess anymore. I will not be trying to make $1 million. I will be very comfortable where I am, and the odd part about it is whatever I need, it's there. Now here is the kick. The deeper you go, and this is a real kick, and when I say that, you're not going to like this. The deeper you go, the less you'll want. Because you find that everything that you want is trying to mask what you don't think you already are. Okay? We think our cars give us importance. We think our clothes give us identity. We think our money gives us power. Those are all things of insecurity about us, false images. Why do you need all these things? I'm not saying you shouldn't have them. I'm saying, why do you need them? The object is not to live a life of austerity. The object is to live a life without extremes. So when one really starts to understand oneself and journey down, 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 we start to look at some of the things we have and go, I don't need this, I don't need this. This is ridiculous. I'm very comfortable with just this. And all of a sudden, wealth begins to spring in us. Prosperity begins to occur, and prosperity is love and self-acceptance of me, and a respect for all who are around me, and an insight of our interdependence with each other, that I need you and you need me, and I'm here to serve you and you're here to serve me, and I'm very happy to share my money with you. I'm very happy to receive money from you. I'm very happy to have your love and your friendship, and I'm very happy to give you my love and my friendship. Now the interdependence really starts to be understood, that we're entwined, that you really are my brother. You really are. Whether, physical or not, you really are. And that's very important for me to understand.
Now, is that the practical application of this?
You see, you can't be practical in life unless, and meaning useful, unless you're doing the things that are really useful to you. And what we often do is sacrifice what we think is useful for us by the things that we get, sacrificing the person that we are.
Why don't people seek well-being more often?
Because of the media, commercials. Everybody's telling us we got to be better. And we don't got to be better. Everybody's telling us we got to be better. Everybody says become something. We got to be us, whatever that is. The deepest risk of my life was to be myself in front of everybody and not try to be what people wanted me to be. And when I became myself, I became very happy. It was really interesting. Everybody else is trying to teach you what you should be. If you have a little flake on your shoulder, you saw the commercial, some gal walks up, she's got a little dandruff on her shoulder, and everybody walks away like she's got leprosy. You know what I mean? And then what the message is if your human body has a flake there, you're not acceptable. What a horrible thing. So what do? We put all sorts of goop on our hair to make us acceptable. And then our breath, and then our bodies, and so we become totally acceptable to everybody else, but inside there's a part of us going, who are you? What are you? We're unacceptable to ourselves. I had a man in class last night. It's very rare that a man will say this. I'm doing a workshop, and he said, you know what I found out, what is my obsession? And I said, what? He said, I need to be liked. And I said, well, who do you need to be liked by? He said, everybody. Everybody but number one. And all of his life, he said, I tried to be liked by everybody. And he said, I bent over backwards, married 4 women. Tried to please them, couldn't, lost them. He said, now I'm beginning to understand, if I don't like me, no one's going to like me. And that goes back to, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As you are within, so shall be your life. You cannot hide it with clothes or money or automobiles or fame or fortune or power. You have to risk being yourself.
Do you have some how-to steps? Okay, good. And
Can we?
Yes, we surely can. And this is our gift for our viewers that we really want them to write for.
I really want them to write for this. This helped me a great deal. This is going to your heart. Let me read this to you very briefly. When I ask you to listen to me and you start giving me advice, you have not done what I asked. When I ask you to listen to me and you begin to tell me why I shouldn't feel the way I am, you are trampling on my feelings. When I ask you to listen to me and you feel you have to do something to solve my problems, you have failed me, strange as that may seem. Listen. All I ask was that you listen, not to talk or do, just hear me. Advice is cheap, and 20 cents will get you both Dear Abby and Billy Graham in the same newspaper. This is a little dated, a quarter will do it now. And I can do it myself. I am not helpless, maybe discouraged and faltering, but not helpless. When you do something for me that I need to do for myself, you contribute to my fear of inadequacy. But when you accept as a simple fact that I do feel what I feel, no matter how irrational, then I can quit trying to convince you and get about the business of understanding what's behind this irrational feeling. And when it's clear, the answers are obvious, I don't need advice. Irrational feelings make sense when we understand what's behind them. Perhaps that's why prayer works sometimes for some people, because God is mute and he or she doesn't give advice or try to fix things. They just listen and let you work it out for yourself. So please, listen and just hear me. And if you want to talk, wait a minute for your turn. I'll listen to you. It's awesome.
There's a lot of strength and advice and guidance in the brochure that you bring to our viewers. Do you have any, and this is theirs for the asking, so please do write to us so that you can have your copy of this and study it and find its meaning for you. Do you have any thought you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah. Buddha's last words before he left. They were gorgeous. You know, every master, Jesus had his, love your neighbor as yourself. Buddha's, be a light unto yourself. Don't be looking for it somewhere else. Don't look for it in me or in Arthur or in anyone else or in a book or in a Messiah that lived 2,000 years ago. Those people are all trying to say it's in you. And you've got to trust that and surrender to that. And if you follow your feelings rather than your emotions, you'll get there. You'll get there. I'm always moved and amazed at the changes that can happen in our life when we're not trying. And most of us try too hard, Arthur, and we miss. We try so hard that life eludes us. And life is really very simple. It's not a complex thing. Only my mind makes my life complex. There is a light that lives within me, and that's all there is. And if I follow it, it'll show me the way.
Thank you, Greg, for showing us the way and sharing these ideas with our viewers. They always are stimulated by your input, and I know that they've been stimulated again. Our affirmation today says, I am equipped to express health, happiness, prosperity, and peace of mind. You could think this is where I came in, but really this is where you began. I am equipped to express health, happiness, prosperity, and peace of mind. Life is waiting for you to awaken. There is a way. Go forth and have a wonderful day, and join us on tomorrow's program.